Hey, what's going on, guys? It is your boy Kingdom. The biggest storyline coming out of Atlanta had nothing to do with Atlanta. Although Atlanta wasn't phased, they got through to the grand final. They lived up to expectations. They did what we thought they were going to do. They kind of had to be scrappy a little bit and do a reverse sweep to get to the grand final. But nevertheless, they got to the grand final. They did what we expected they were going to do. They rocked. They surprised us. They came out of nowhere. They showed that they belong up in the kind of a little bit higher tier than maybe their standings were telling after the previous event. And Florida came out of nowhere, shocked the world. Prestini beats his brother Arcides, makes it into the grand final, and they showed how scrappy they are and that they are a little above where we put them and where their standing showed anyway, and where they were in power rankings because we really didn't know. London and Paris kind of just they did good. But it was an underwhelming performance, not what either of them wanted. But the Rocker in Florida were, this was their event to show and prove, and they definitely did that. And but the biggest storyline coming out of the event is Chicago. Chicago, it's not only that Chicago didn't meet their own expectations. There's nobody on that team that was not thinking, I want to go to this event, I want to beat FaZe, I want to prove that we're better and that we're best. That is that team. That is who they are. That is their brand. That's what they stand for. And it just didn't happen. But it wasn't just that our expectations as viewers and as fans were let down because we wrote the narrative. We wrote the storyline that these two teams were going to face off, and that was just obvious. It's just like, well, who's going to get third and fourth? Who's going to get into the semifinals? Because we know that these two teams, and I made a whole little video about it, and in one of my videos, I ended the video by saying, if any of you teams stop one of those two teams from making it to the grand final, I'm coming after you in my commentary. Well, Florida, you did not listen. Shame on you. But here's the big deal. Here's the big story that is bigger than just maybe they had a bad day. They had a weekend that was not like they wanted to play at all. Not on any, I don't think in a single match Chicago felt like we're being ourselves. Every interview sounded tense, even when they won. The interviews sounded like, well, we're just, getting on each other's nerves and driving each other crazy, and we're arguing in the back, and we're frustrated in our comms. Like everything we heard from the team was, like Envoy tried to say on Saturday that it was good for them, that handling those problems was a good thing. But here's the deal. How you handle problems is just as important as that you handle problems. And the challenge of this team, and we all kind of said it, and nobody wanted to hear that narrative. I mean, even in an interview on Saturday, Hector said that, you know, we've all been in Call of Duty esports for a very long time. Losing is a part of what we do. It's a part of our sport. So we're confident that we can turn things around and show up better on Sunday. And while that was true and what he was speaking was true, there's something about certain individuals and the way that they deal with losing, the way they deal with tension outside of the game and off the sticks. It translates onto the sticks. And what it felt like is a team that lost full in the first match they played because no one expected them to go game 5 round 11 with that team. And for Alec to say in an interview that in game 5, where they're deciding whether they're going to go up into the winners portion of the group bracket, or if they're going to go down into the losers portion, which would have been dangerous for that team this weekend. In that map 5, he said that they still weren't talking, like they weren't communicating like they're supposed to. Like, and there's some people that would say, well, they're professional athletes. They should have to know, or they should know how to handle these type of things. And they're professionals, and like the same thing I said about Florida, shame on them. But the reality is they're also grown men. They're grown men with history with each other. They've won and lost together. They've unraveled together. Some of them. and we've watched, and the reason why those of us watching from the outside have said, let's see what happens when this team loses. Let's see if they can handle that. Because we know how important winning is to a team like this. And, maybe Merck was right. Maybe they focused too much on Dallas and that got in their heads that they had accomplished a lot, more than they wanted to. I can tell you 100% clearly without, you know, there is no one on that team that did not want to absolutely win this event for one reason or another. They were done talking about Dallas. Dallas wasn't at this event at all. And this team, Alec wanted to beat his brother and wanted to be back to back to back, like the Tiny Terrors got to say in their interviews. Like Alec wanted that. He said it in an interview before the league even started. He said he wanted to prove that he's one of the greatest and he wanted to go back to back to back to back. And so this was a big, huge deal for that team. And if I haven't said it yet, unequivocally, absolutely yes, this team can bounce back. We're talking about Scump and Formal, and we're talking about a team. Remember what happened when they started to have infighting in the dynasty times between those two, between T2P. But they figured out how to get it together and win a championship. They stuck together till they won a championship and they won COD champs. Even though I think that whole year they were kind of not being happy playing with each other. And the year before it was just like, oh my gosh, like it this team definitely can bounce back. They have the skill. All they need is the will. And unfortunately, something happened. I don't know what it was, but I could feel the tension. But something happened that caused the team to just not gel. They just were not. It looked like they weren't getting along. Just I mean, that's the easiest way to say it. It looked like they just had some beef or something. Like they just weren't getting along this weekend. And is this team going to be better in a month at Dallas? Absolutely. Are they going to win Dallas? That's highly possible. This team and anybody that says that they're not in the top two, drugs must be legal in your state because that's bananas to say that this team is not the second best team in the league. They've lost one match, one, one match to a very good team that fought really hard and reverse swept them. So you guys let me know in the comments below, what do you think? I think 100% the Huntsmen can bounce back. I see the Huntsmen in huge contention for winning the Dallas event. FaZe is probably going to show up and show out again in LA, and it's going to provide more fuel for that Chicago fire. Nevertheless, this is your boy Kingdom. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!